crowd cheering.
You're an M&M. There's no point in wondering where your pockets are. Tasty, smooth, creamy milk. Chocolate center. You're an M&M. It's alright. There's no sense in wondering where your pockets are. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. Don't worry, they say hi. Solid milk chocolate. M&M's. I love being on TV when you're an M&M. Don't worry, it's alright. Solid milk chocolate. M&M's. Don't worry, get in the ball. The milk chocolate melts in your mouth. Do you think bite-sized candies? Milk chocolate. Do you think bite-sized candies? Creamy milk chocolate. Do you think bite-sized candies? I hope no one almond chocolate. Do you think bite-sized candies? Chocolate center. Milk chocolate. You're an M&M. No one. There's no point in wondering where your pockets are. Only M&M's candies. You're an M&M. It's alright. There's no sense in wondering where your ear holes are. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. So it's that kind of party. Dark chocolate's darker than they seem. So it's that kind of party. When you're an M&M. 13 more hours. Oh no. Solid milk chocolate. Aye. 13 more hours. Oh no. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. Do you think bite-sized candies? Milk chocolate. Bite-sized candies. Creamy milk chocolate. Milk chocolate. Do you think bite-sized candies? M&M. Almond chocolate. Do you think bite-sized candies? Chocolate center. When you're an M&M. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. Must try another. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. Creamy milk chocolate. Milk chocolate. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. Must try another. Milk chocolate melts in your mouth. They say hi when you're an M&M.
All the M&Ms you could want. With peanuts or plain.
Might wonder. Might wonder. You're an M&M. 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 You're an M&M.
Milk chocolate. Bite-sized candy. Chocolate center. Milk chocolate. Bite-sized candy. Chocolate center. The M&M's can only all new M's. The M&M's can bite-sized candies. M's. The M&M's can only all new M's. The M&M's can.
I'd say that's a wrap.
Transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas. It's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
Alrighty, hey folks, this is Joe Rooz, and it is great to be with you once again, transmitting live at the Asylum Studios, broadcasting from the Pimple on the backside of Texas, the beautiful city of Eagle Pass, and doing the very best that we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we could muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Joe Rooz Show. All right. Thank you to our non-existent studio audience. Really appreciate the applause. All right, folks. It is Monday, the 3rd of November, 2025 at 19:04 hours. We got a show for you tonight, folks. Looking forward to our guest this evening. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. It is the second Monday of the week. Remember what we said last week. Every day of the week is a Monday, especially when you do what I do. Every day is a Monday except Saturday. Saturday is pre-Monday because then Sunday is Monday light. And then you have full Monday, then second Monday, and so on and so forth. So today is second Monday of the week. I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Anyway, so we had a busy, crazy weekend here at the show. I hope you guys were able to check it out. We had Ruben Camarillo in the studio with us on Saturday from the Now You Know Eagle Pass podcast. Great guy. Hope you guys were able to catch that. That was really just a fantastic conversation. Had a great time with Ruben. Looking forward to connecting with him again and doing some more work together. And we're going to have a lot of things that we're going to talk about, Ruben and I. So especially food. You should have seen the video he sent me before the show. That son of a, I'm over here. I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet today, but he's over here sending me pictures of videos of him cooking. Yeah, thanks, bud. I appreciate you. I'll get you back. No worries. And then, of course, we had our cryptocurrency show with our resident crypto psychic, Marissa Lee, on Saturday afternoon. That was spectacular. We had a lot of good information passed on to us there, particularly about PayPal and the stock option of PayPal at this point, or the stock offering of PayPal at this time. And we talked about DIA. We talked about stablecoin. We talked about, trends and, of course, the usual stuff that we love to talk about, like Solana and Algo and XRP and so on and so forth, and how they're trending. And so things are looking, pretty good. It's in a bit of a lull with cryptos, but that's okay. You got to ride it out. You got to be patient. You got to watch. Like I said on the show on Saturday, I don't even pay attention to what I have in cryptos. I just, whatever I put into it, I put into it. And if I check it once in a while, I check it once in a while. Because I know me, that if I go in there and I keep on looking at it and I see it dip, I'm going to panic, sell everything, and get out of it altogether. And then I'm going to kick myself, because what usually happens for me is the day after I do something like that, and it takes off, totally takes off, and then I am screwed. So, so I just adopted the philosophy of just, it's like the old Ronco thing. Do you remember Ronco? He had that little roasting thing that he would put on, at the early days of infomercials. And he had, just set it and forget it. And that's basically what I do with the crypto stuff. I just set it and forget it. Just move on. And then, of course, Sunday we had our Sunday Bible study show, which was fantastic, if I do say so myself. I think it went pretty well. We talked about as you know, we started a series on the dispensations. And so we were up to the third one, which was yesterday, and we talked about the dispensation of conscience and how God gives every man a conscience, and let your conscience be your guide type of thing, up until the establishment of the law, which we'll be getting into next week. So that's going to be a lot of interesting information there. That I remember when I first taught this series back in my church, and I did it as a Bible study for our adult, our teens, early adult group. And it took me about 4 weeks of study just to get through the law alone before we got into the age that we're in now in grace. So very interesting study. I'm looking forward to getting into it with you guys. I'm going to see how I'm going to do it on the show. I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out, because I had a lot of graphics and such, a lot of note taking on the whiteboard. And I don't know if I could put a whiteboard up over here, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure something out. Who knows? I don't know. Well, you know how we do things here. It's fly by the seat of your pants. So. But we're good. We'll get there, and then this week, and here we are, man. It's here already. I can't believe that. But I don't want to keep our guest waiting too much longer. So let me get through some of the housekeeping stuff that we have to do, as always. So I want to tell you about some of our sponsors. So first of all, Podhome.fm. That's our audio host home. So we've been with Podhome now for about 3 years. They are a fantastic audio side host platform, best you're going to get on the market. It is the most easy and most modern podcast hosting platform that there is. You can use it to publish your episodes, enhance your audio, automatically generate chapters, titles, transcripts, show notes. You can even update your chapter art if you want to get that creative. For every chapter, have a new piece of artwork for it. You can do that. That's fine if that's how you roll. I don't do that. I don't have time to do that. But for those podcasts that have like huge crews that actually do all that stuff on the backside, we'll get there. One day somebody from Joe Rogan will call me and say, hey, we're going to pay you. Hey, great. Until then, it's just us. So your chapters, title, show notes, everything, all for Podhome. You can broadcast your show live, actually, through Podhome as well, through the modern podcast 2.0 apps. You can get those things, and you can actually listen to the show live. We're streaming the show live on audio as well as the video. And you could also download, you could also install or code, whatever they call it, the HTML to get a player on your website. And if you don't have a website, Podhome gives you one. They'll set you up with one. No additional charge. You get all of that for one affordable monthly subscription of $15.99 a month. Just $15.99 a month. You cannot beat that. I've used other platforms. They charge you double, triple for what you get with Podhome, and Podhome is improving every day. They just recently launched their own podcast player app, which is beautiful, and I going to pat myself on the back a little bit because I was in the beta program for it. So, it was pretty good app. I like it. You should try it out. And, if you go over to Pod Home today, you sign up today, you get 30 days free. So you can play with it for 30 days, get used to it, like it, love it. And then $15.99 a month after that, you're not going to go back to your other platform. I guarantee you that. All right. So check them out. Podhome.fm. That's podhome.fm. All right. Also, would like to tell you a little bit about TNE.energy. Electricity is essential, folks. We should know that. We wouldn't be doing this without electricity. And TNE.energy makes it affordable and personal. More than 1 million customers across the U.S. trust TNE Energy to power their homes, earn free energy for referring their family and friends as well. Now just visit the website TNE.energy and explore all of the options that are available to you and your home today. That's TNE.energy. All right, and also don't forget to head over to our website, joerooz.com. It's very important we plug our own website, right? joerooz.com, and when you get over there, hit that contact section, open up that little web form, send us over a message. Let us know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, concerns, any issues, any complaints. We don't want the complaints, but if you have one, send it, okay? We'll give it its due diligence. Trash bin, but send it over anyway, okay? And let us know if you have an idea for a show, a guest. Maybe there's a particular topic you want us to cover. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. You could also email me at info@joerooz.com if you don't want to use the website. Totally fine. Or a novel idea. It just got me. There's a comment section down below, right down there somewhere. Leave a comment. Let us know. That's there in perpetuity. It's not going anywhere. So I can always go back and look at it. So do that. All right. We love to hear from everybody. So please reach out to us. Let us know what we can do to help you enjoy the show. All right. Also, if you would, please look for the support button. As always, this is a value for value show. And all that simply means is that if you receive anything of value from what we're producing, we're asking you to return that value in the form of a donation. It could be your time, your talent, your treasure. And as always, I will lay all of that stuff out for you at the end of the show. I don't want to scare everybody off yet. All right. Now, tonight's guest is an author with a message of hope, courage, and imagination. Annmarie SanSevero. I know I didn't say it right. She'll correct me. I'm going to fix echo right now. There we go. See, I forgot, like I said. She grew up amid the buzz of New York City before moving in high school to the South. She writes speculative fiction that dances between the human spirit and edges of science, stories where technology, mystery, and supernatural intertwine. Her award-winning short stories have been featured in anthologies, magazines, and now in her newest collection, The Butterflies, Stroke, and Other Stories, a book that reminds us we're not just meant to survive, but to change the world. Annmarie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. We got a chance to talk a little bit before the show. So we both come from the same neck of the woods, Brooklyn, Staten Island, all that stuff. So we're going to have a lot of great stuff to talk about later on. But before we get into any of that stuff, I have a couple of questions I ask every single guest. I got to put you on the spot right off the bat.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. Hopefully you listened to a couple of shows first before you checked in here. Coming into it, I ask everybody the same basic question. All right. What is something that most people don't know about you but should?
So I am a nerd, but I think that has been outed already, to be honest with you. And so I have more bookshelves in my house than furniture, and I haven't met a subject I didn't want to learn about. And one thing, I actually brought a trig book with me to the hospital the first time I was delivering a baby.
Trig book?
Yes, the nurses said, bring something that will relax you. So that's what I brought. And
trigonometry
yeah.
relaxes you. Okay. Yeah, so, I think the nerd thing comes through there.
Doesn't it?
Man, I would think that trigonometry is probably the one thing I would not want to relax myself with. I remember some of my early college trigonometry stuff, and it wasn't for me. and not for me at all. But as far as the book collection go, I love books. I do. I prefer to actually hold a book in my hand than sit there and scroll through electronic pages and all that stuff. And there's another reason for that as well, because in today's digital age, and you're gonna think I'm you think you're a nerd. I'm a conspiracy freak with these things. I don't trust government. I really don't. And who's to say that one day they're going to determine that some particular books that I like to read or you like to read are considered propaganda. You're not allowed to. You can't read them anymore. They could just flip a switch and it's gone. But you actually have the paper book in your hands. That's valuable. That's valuable. That's why I usually buy multiple copies of books. So, this way I have them. But I know people can think I'm crazy, but that's my little secret there. And I wish that I still had the book collection that I had prior to coming to Eagle Pass. I had in the house I had back in New York, I had a room that was just all books. I mean, just every kind of book you can possibly imagine. I've relegated that to I have one bookshelf in the other room here, and the rest of my collection is kind of spread out around the house. And then I have, I don't know, maybe 3 boxes full of books still in the closet that I have not unpacked yet. And I've been here 10 years. So, So I books, my thing. I love books. I love to read. I do need to read more though. To be honest, this thing gets in the way of actually reading books. And, cause you find yourself jumping to that thing more than just opening up a book and sitting down and reading and losing time that way. And I say losing time loosely. It's not really losing time. When you can sit down with a good book and read and let your imagination run, man, that beats anything you're ever going to find on social media. That beats anything you're ever going to find online. I so much would rather be doing that than wasting time on the phone. So that's my preachy message for the day so far. All right.
Down with that message.
All right. So, especially since you're a writer, so I would hope you would. All right, next question. What's your go-to beverage or activity that you like to do to help you unwind at the end of the day?
If I have time to do something just for fun, I will tap dance or play violin. And
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Not at the same time, but
That would be interesting. I think you could make a TikTok video and probably make a lot of money on that.
There we go. Or break my violin, one or the other.
Or your neck.
Yeah. Yes.
God forbid.
Yeah.
That's great. My grandfather, God bless him. I miss my grandfather passed away when I was 16, but my grandfather used to play the violin. He was a concert violinist at a very, very young age. And I'll never forget, especially around the holidays, he would come out, he would bring out the violin or the guitar, and he would sit and he'd play around the holidays, and we would just have a great time. Like I told you before the show, my family is Italian, Sicilian, New York, Brooklyn, so you had all of that great stuff, around the holidays. It wasn't just, mom, dad, and the kids. It was mom, dad, the kids, the grandparents, the great grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, the third cousins, fourth cousins, the 32nd cousin removed. Everybody was there, and it was just a great time. So I love that stuff. And I don't have anything about tap dancing though. That's the only thing. That's a little bit out of my thing. I could tap dance around an explanation of something, but I can't tap dance at all. I can't dance at all either, but that's another story altogether. So no, again, so I've been alluding to this all night. We share a common background. We both lived in New York. You grew up in Staten Island. Well, you grew up in New York City or Staten Island? Staten Island. You grew up on Staten Island. Okay.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people don't understand the difference. Like when I moved here to Texas, like people didn't understand that New York wasn't just Manhattan.
Right. There's 5 boroughs.
Right. And then there's a whole state surrounding it, So it was kind of hard to explain that. Well, yeah, you have Manhattan, but then there are 4 other cities that make up New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people don't understand that. But you grew up in Staten Island, and then you moved down south during high school or around the high school age. And I think you're still living down south right now. I don't want to say
I
it because
am.
I have it in my notes, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to say it. I don't want to throw it
Yeah,
out.
I'm currently living down south, and at some point I'm going to move, but I haven't decided where.
Okay. Well, how now going from New York to the south, how has that shaped your storytelling?
Um, it's given me two vastly different cultural perspectives. For one, uh, when I first moved here, it it has grown a lot since I first moved here. But I went from Staten Island to a town where there was 272 people, and I felt so trapped because I didn't have a way to get anywhere. There was no train, no public transportation, and I would sometimes get notes on my locker that said "Yankee, go home" and things like that. Yeah, and so it was awkward. But I mean, this this area has really grown both in population and in maturity and kindness to people that are different, and that has been wonderful to watch. Um, I I'll tell you one way it shaped my writing. I was invited to submit to an anthology on cryptids. And I don't know if you know what a cryptid is, but
I do.
okay, super. Usually I have to explain. So yeah, you.
Well, you can
Um,
explain to the audience. That's fine. I don't
yeah,
mind that.
yeah, it's kind of like those legends like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and things like that. And this particular anthology, it had to have a cryptid and it had to have an epistolary element in it. And so I chose the cryptid from Arkansas, which is the Fook monster, and the one from New York, which is Champy. And I had them as pen pal kids. And the one from Arkansas really wanted a human friend, and the one from New York wanted to be a humanologist when he grew up. And so he would give him advice on how to get a human friend. And it just was disastrous advice, but it was fun. And so the editor had written and said, "Hey, put some of that Arkansas lingo in there." And so I got to use some of the things that I've heard but never really used, like busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest and stuff. And so
I'm sure there are some sayings like that around here in Eagle Pass, but the thing is down here they speak mostly Spanish, and I don't even being here 10 years I'm lost.
okay.
I walk around with my Google Translate, I just how I communicate with people there, you know. But that's great. A humanologist, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So now, at what point in your life did you decide that you wanted to start writing and telling these stories, or was it something that just always been a part?
It's always been a part of my life. Like I've always been a huge reader. I used to kind of escape to the library, and while my friends were dreaming about being a rock star, I would sometimes dream about writing books, and I'd write little stories in my flower decorated notebooks as a little girl and stuff like that. But life took over and I didn't get to do it for a long time. And then I got to a point where I realized if I don't do it now, I'm never going to. So I sat my kids down and said, "Hey, mommy really wants to write." And so I'm going to take a little time every day and do it. And they were really supportive about it. At first, I was a single mom with 4 kids working 3 part-time jobs. And so there was not a lot of time to write.
I wouldn't think so.
No. So I was doing 15 minutes a day at first. And then gradually, as they all started graduating, I got more time. And so it's been just such a wonderful way of dealing with life. And the writing that brought me courage when I was a kid, I want to give to other people. And so I would read things about people going through horrible things and they would survive and they do great, brave acts. And it gave me courage. So that's what I love about it.
Well, that's great. And you also kind of answered my next question. My next one was, that you do write stories about hope and courage and resilience. And my question was going to be, why are they so important to you? Why are those themes so important to you?
Yeah, I've been through a lot, and knowing that you can go through hard things and come out on top is a great thing to have in your tool belt. I guess I don't really have tools, but that would be useful. So, yeah, and
I'm sorry, excuse me.
No, that's fine. No, you haven't been feeling one. I'm sorry. I sometimes think about, the kid that's struggling and scared when I write, or the adult that's struggling and scared, and want to give them some hope. So,
Well, let's talk about your book, The Butterfly Stroke.
mhm.
Um, I had an opportunity to read some of it today, um, and really well written. I really enjoyed what I was reading, and it really caught my interest, especially with what's going on right now with like guys like Elon Musk with Neuralink and all of those things. So I was very very curious. So I have to finish reading the book itself. I actually have to get the copy of it so I could actually read the rest of the story because because it cut off right at that point where I was like, oh. So, yeah, so it was good. It was very, very good. I did enjoy it. I really did. I'm not just saying that because you're across the way from me here. I'm serious. But let's talk about the title a little bit. The butterfly stroke. Where did that idea come from, and how did that come to you?
So I had written down a whole bunch of titles that I hated, and I consulted a friend that is another writer, David Hankins. He's a fantastic writer, and he's funnier than I am and clever. And so I said, David, I'm stuck, and he helped me with that title. And I had named the neural link that they use the butterfly because of how it's shaped, and
Okay.
because she was an Olympic swimmer, and they had the butterfly stroke. David and I were writing back and forth, and then we came up with that. So, but I don't think I'd have come up with that name without him. So I want to give him as much credit as possible. All
Uh,
the boring names in my short story collection that you're going to read, those are probably all me. So
I'm sure they're good. I'm sure they're fine. So so you have this concept of uh, she was a former Olympic swimmer,
mhm.
right? And she was able to regain her ability to swim, to move, actually, because she was quadriplegic in the story, through the brain implant, and then facing unintended consequences. That whole thing that's powerful. It really is. And how do you balance the emotional side of the story with the scientific or the speculative elements?
So when I write, so the collection is equally divided between science fiction stories and fantasy stories.
Okay.
And when I'm writing science fiction, I'm not only thinking about what we could do for humanity, but I'm thinking about how it affects us as humans. And so not just the technical side of it, because everything, like you were talking about earlier about not trusting government and worried about them just saying, no, you can't have this book anymore. I have a suspicious mind as well. And so I always think about, okay, this is a wonderful idea.
Mhm.
Now, what's going to go wrong with it? And that's where the human element comes in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answered your question or
No,
not.
it does. No, it does.
Okay.
It certainly does. So which story in all of your collection was the hardest for you to write emotionally?
In that collection, I would say the Heresy of Peace was the hardest to write
No, why was
emotion.
that?
Um, because it was about generational hate and having to make great sacrifices for people who've done you harm.
Hmm.
And so that was an emotional one. Um, probably the most emotional story I've ever written, actually, I just finished after I'd put out this collection, was a more autobiographical one. The most autobiographical I'd ever written. But every single story I write has some aspect from my life in it. Like there's one story, Memory Ghost, in that collection about a woman who gets a partial brain graft, and she starts experiencing the memories of her donor. And it
Mhm.
turns out her donor was murdered. And so she solves the crime through her donor's memories. And it was because I was in the hospital one day, and it turned out my body just stopped producing enough blood. And so I had to get all these blood transfusions. And it was my first time ever experiencing something like that. And I was laying in the hospital, and this stranger's blood was going into my body, and I was really creeped out. And I kept thinking, I don't know anything about them. They should have at least taken me to dinner or something. And and all I kept thinking was, what if it was something more intimate, like our mind instead of just blood. And so everything I experience goes into the stories somehow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, my mentor and I have a saying called "Everything is research." So when something horrible happens to me, and I'm like, "Oh, Martin, look what happened," and he's like, "Remember, everything's research." And so,
I guess that's a good way to look at it. And it's funny because that line is, please take you to dinner first. I use that at my doctor's office all the time. Every time the nurse comes in and says, "Well, I got to give you a shot. Drop your pants." I'm like, "Well, usually go to dinner first." But I remember the first time I ever said that. She just didn't know she didn't know how to react. She was like, "Just what?" Like, nobody's ever said that to you. That's like a standard joke in these things. It's people in the South. They just don't get it. They don't get it.
We probably left the room and went, "Bless his heart."
Well, yeah, but depending on how they say it, is the real meaning behind it.
Yes.
So that I've learned very, very, very quickly here. But you're right. Yeah, everything is research. Everything, and it's the same thing. I employ the same thing with the show. When it comes to, if I see something or if I experience something, I'm like, well, this could be part of a show at some point. And I try to work that in. Yeah, I totally understand. Everything is research. Now, how did you first get involved with writers and illustrators of the future?
So I had taken a class by David Farland, who was a phenomenal writer, and he was one of the judges. And he had passed away a few years ago, but right before he passed away, he said, "You have to enter this competition. It's a career maker. It will help you so much." And so I wasn't a short story writer. I liked long form, and I'd been working on my first novel. And then I went to a writers conference that Dave had founded with some other great writers like Kevin J. Anderson and Brandon Sanderson and all the big names in science fiction and fantasy. And Jonathan Mayberry was there, and he had a class called "Why You Should Be Writing Short Stories." And I was like, well, I don't want to write short stories, so I'm going to go to the class to figure out if I'm wrong. And I was. So he gave some really good reasons. And so I started writing them and entering them in the contest. And I'm going to continue entering until I either win or pro out. But everything in that collection has gotten either an honorable mention or semifinalist in their competition.
What is it like to get your work recognized like that?
Nerve-wracking. So yeah. And every time I'm waiting on the results, I'm sure they're going to write me back and say, "You should stop writing." But when they actually give me something great, like a semifinalist or an honorable mention, it does feel good. It's like, okay, I'm making progress. I'm doing better. And now I'm starting to get reviews from strangers about things I wrote. And so this felt weird. I had one woman, she was like, "This writer's a genius." And I will tell you, I screenshotted that so much. And
Sure, right.
that's right. And then, and when I first got my first short story published, it was actually a humorous one. And I had 4 kids constantly telling me I wasn't funny. And so when I got that contract that they were actually paying me and saying, "I laughed so hard," I took it to my kids and was like, "Your mom's funny. And she's even paid." So, they didn't believe it though.
That's okay. They don't have to believe it.
That's right.
Was that saying that there are some things that are true whether you believe it or not?
Yes.
There it is. There you go. But that's good though. I mean, I used to write. I told I had somebody else on the show not too long ago that we were talking about writing, and I used to write short stories when I was younger. I was in well, now they call it middle school, but I was in junior high and high school. I used to write a lot. I was quite prolific, as they would say. But I never did anything. I have the stories, the actual written out stories in a binder someplace, and I just have a label that said "the unpublished works." So when I do eventually pass on, and they come and find my remains that the dogs have eaten pretty much mostly, they'll find this book of unpublished works, and at least my kids will get some kind of inheritance. They'll think it's something great. I don't know.
They'll be worth millions.
That's my point. Yeah. So so if you call it the unpublished stuff, I think it'll work. It'll work better, because then people start looking for the published stuff, and it'll be a rare thing if you ever find anything, right? So I don't know. It's the medication. I'm telling you, I'm all over the place here. So if a new reader would start with one story from the Butterfly Stroke, which story would you recommend, and why would you recommend it?
Gosh, that's a hard question. If they are into science fiction, I'd start with The Butterfly Stroke. If they are into fantasy, I would start with A Living Client. And so that one is that was what I had 24 hours to write that story because I'd made a commitment to myself. I was going to enter Writers of the Future every quarter. And life takes over, like it does sometimes. And, I have to work and I go to school and all this other stuff. And so I had just done a brain dump. And as I was doing a brain dump to come up with the idea, I was all of a sudden thinking about this. I knew I was going to do like a supernatural detective kind of thing. And I had just seen a Death in Paradise episode where the guy had a skeleton in his classroom, but it was actually like the skeleton of his dead wife. He'd killed her. It was really creepy. And so I was going to combine some of all those things. And I thought this supernatural detective is going to have a haunted femur that's his assistant. And I'm going to call it Luke Thywalker. And I just started laughing. Yeah. See, tell my kids.
That's funny. Put them on. That's funny.
Yes. But because I was tired and it made me laugh and I knew I had to write it really fast, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And so that's the one I would start with for fantasy. But honestly, I would just like pick a story a day and read them. They're not too long. And so you can get through it.
Somehow, some way, you'll trudge your way through these short stories.
Right. That's right.
Well, I'll tell you, like I was saying earlier about the story I read today about the Olympic swimmer. It was a tease because you know where it cuts off. It cuts off.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to get too far, but it cuts off at a very, very interesting development in the recovery process. And I was like, no, what? Damn it. One more page. That's all I needed. One more page, it would have been fine. But it's a great story though. Like I'm really interested. I want to finish especially that one. So we're going to, I would recommend that one. And you recommended, what were the two you recommended again?
So that one and The Living Client.
Living Client. Okay.
Heresy of Peace is a great one. If you like scions and stuff, there's another one called Shattered. I mean, they're all different. So it's hard to like pick. It's like asking me to pick which child is my favorite. You're just mean. So,
I can do it. My favorite is Bean.
Oh, there you go.
and she's my 5-year-old French bulldog.
There you go.
So, she's my baby.
I'm hoping all my kids thought they were my favorite, but
well, my human kids, yeah. Out of my human children, they I can't. There's no way I could pick a favorite. Yeah. At least not publicly.
That's right.
I can say it outside. This is the one I wanted, but but and I think that if I said that in front of the kids, they would know. They would know what I meant. No, I'm just kidding. I love both. My kids are great. They're fantastic. I'm incredibly proud of them. And how old are your kids, by the way?
The oldest is the oldest is 29, and the youngest is 19. Yeah, so they're grown. They're all grown up now. It's just me.
Yeah. My daughter just turned 29, and my son will be lucky if he makes 27.
Okay.
So no, I'm kidding. They're both great. I love them both. I'm incredibly proud of both of them. They both made such huge. Doting dad here. I'm sorry, but they both.
That's a good thing.
my daughter had she gave me 3 beautiful grandchildren, and while she was pregnant with number 2, she worked her way through her master's program. She graduated from Columbia with honors with her MBA while pregnant and working full time. Her and her husband, both work incredibly hard to give the kids a great life, and incredibly proud of them. My son is doing spectacular. I'm just so proud of him from where he's come. He had a very rough child. My son had some disabilities, Asperger's and such, and it really slowed him down quite a bit. But he's worked so hard, and I am just incredibly. He works for a retail chain right now, and they just put him in their management training program. So I'm incredibly proud of him. He's doing a fantastic job. But he does get a little goofy at times, and we do have a couple of good laughs, which is good. He's a
I mean,
goofy kid.
we're all goofy sometimes.
And my daughter still lives on Staten Island,
Oh,
and my sister still lives on Staten Island. So hey, off the subject of books altogether, what do you think about this election cycle going on up there?
it terrifies me, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
yes, I'm very nervous about the whole Mandani thing. But I'm hoping they'll have common sense. But
I hope so too. And it's interesting because I told my sister, and she's reluctant because she works for the city, and I'm not going to say where. I'm not going to jeopardize her job, right?
yeah,
But she works for New York City, and she's like, I just got to hang on just for a few more years so I get vested and I get all the benefits, no matter what. And I'm like, yeah, but if this guy wins, you got to get out. You got to get out. It's not going to be a good thing. It is not going to be a good thing at all.
yeah. I think people hear free stuff and they get excited. And I know what it's like to struggle. Funny, I mean, I was a single mom. I know what it's like to struggle. And but free stuff, it's never really free. I mean, it's got to be paid for. And so
it's free until they run out of the person's money that they're using to buy it.
Yes. So I think they're going to end up bankrupting. I mean, there's going to be a mass exodus of there already has been of a lot of companies from there already. And so anyway, I don't live there anymore, so I don't get a vote, but
yeah, but still, I'm interested because my family's still up there. So
yeah,
I'm curious. I was just curious what you thought about it as a
yeah.
native New Yorker.
I have people I love that still live, friends and family that still live there, and and not all of them agree with me. Some of them will probably vote for him, but I just anyway. Yeah.
I get you. I hear you. I know it was off the subject, but it just crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your writing process a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you approach building worlds that blend science and human emotion, the supernatural, and all that together?
Sure. So I am emotional, period. Like I'm stoic in outwardly, but inwardly I have like all this like empathy on steroids going on half the time. And so that part is easy to come up with the feelings and how people would feel in certain situations. And I think it's been useful that I've been through so many things that's helped me have experiences that I can put in there. The science part, I do a lot of research, and I don't mind that because, like we said, I'm a nerd. I enjoy that. I will read. I have a book on the history of secret codes I'm going through right now, and
Nice.
It's really cool, actually.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and so I play a lot of what if. If I read something interesting, well, for instance, like the Norlink in Butterfly Stroke, I thought, well, that's cool that he's coming up with something where they could use their eyes to move the computer mouse. But what if we found a stent that we put below the brake on the spine, and it could wirelessly connect to that, and then they could move. So I take one thing and I ask what if, and I keep asking what if. And then, for instance, after she was moving, well, what could go wrong with that? Because, you're a writer, you have to make people's lives miserable for a short time. And, and then you hopefully fix it. So, but it was just, that's a lot of my process. Sometimes it depends on whether it's something I'm researching or an idea that just really it comes across. With the Heresy of Peace, I was watching Babylon 5 one day.
Oh, yeah.
And, and the doctor had mentioned something about the Black Plague back in ancient Earth. And he was talking about how they killed the cats, which...
I think I know that episode.
Yes. Oh, you're a Babylon 5 fan. See, I knew we were going to be friends. Yeah.
I knew it as soon as you said Staten Island.
There you go. But I was thinking, and it was the same time that there was a conflict going on in the news that was making me sad. And the essential thought that came to me is, what if the solution to your problem was your enemy? Or what if you were the solution to your enemy's problem? And how would you handle that. And so that's one thing. It's sometimes a concept that I come across. Other times I'm just being goofy. And when I was wrote a story called The Problem with Control that's in Sally Port magazine, I just thought, oh, I want a sarcastic dragon cat. And so I just made up this monster that's like a Drake Felis is what I called him. So he's a dragon that when he has to be incognito, he has to morph into a cat, and he's really sarcastic and rude to his, the person who helps him help the they fight monsters and aliens and stuff like that. And so sometimes it's just I'm feeling goofy and want to have fun, and other times it's serious, and then I just sit down and have fun with my imagination.
So are you a morning writer, or are you a night owl, or is it like whenever the mood strikes?
I'm a whenever I can writer. So a lot of the times, like when I started, because I was still taking care of 4 kids myself, my laptop goes with me everywhere. It goes to doctor's appointments. It went to my kids' music lessons or dance lessons, and while they were doing stuff, I was tapping away. And I've become, and I haven't become like a morning or night person. Now I have to be like an all the time person to get everything done.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't go to bed until I've written. And I do have times that I know I write better. I write better in the morning. So I try to do it then.
Mhm.
It doesn't always work out, but if I can, that's my favorite time to write. But either way, it's going to get written. So,
Yeah, I it's funny because I'm the same way when it comes to like brainstorming for shows and stuff like that. I find that in the morning, that's when I get the most crisp ideas for direction for shows and content and so on and so forth. And then my problem is that I don't take the second to write it down. I'll remember. But as I'm getting older, my memory is becoming more and more like Swiss cheese. So right now it's more like an Alpine lace Swiss. So smaller holes, but many. So I understand you exactly. Yeah, morning is to me, I think, is the best. Creatively speaking, I think the morning is the best time to do anything like this. By the end of the day, you're tired, you're worn out. You're not gonna, you're not thinking as clear, as sharp as you did as when you first got up in the morning, that first cup of coffee. That's to me, that's when I do my best work for the show anyway.
yeah, but you can't always do it when it's ideal. So you just have to. I don't believe that you can only write when the muse is there, because then you'd never write. You just have to.
True, very true.
Right. I did have. You were talking about memory. I tried keeping a notebook by my bed for a while, because sometimes I'd have this dream. And I would think, oh, that's such a great idea. And I wake up from the dream and I'll think, oh, I'll do that in the morning. And then in the morning, I don't remember it. So I started putting this thing by my bed. And then I had this idea in the middle of the night. I must have gotten up and written it down. And in the morning, I looked at it, very excited about this idea that was so brilliant. And all it said was like frog's feet. I have no idea what that is. And I don't remember anything about a frog.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. That reminds me. The show Seinfeld.
Yes.
Okay. He remember he had fallen asleep and he had a dream about something. Woke up, wrote it down, and he couldn't figure out what he wrote.
Yes.
That's what I was. That's where I thought you were going with it.
No, I mean, I could read it. I was just like, I'm just disappointed when I read. Yeah. So
maybe you were thinking about dinner in France or something.
I have no idea. So, that's one story that hasn't gotten written. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, at some point, you're going to include frog's feet somewhere. So do you find that real world technology catches up with your imagination?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And but that's what it's supposed to do. I mean, I hope it does. My grad school mentor, Kevin J. Anderson, was invited to speak at this futurist convention. And it's all these big scientists who do these amazing things. And they were so nerding out to see him because of his science fiction writing and stuff. And they had mentioned how his books inspired them to come up with some ideas. And so I think a lot of scientists read science fiction,
I agree.
which is kind of cool.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think they have their pulse on what's up and coming in the science fiction world, and they look for ideas there, because you look at some of these science fiction stories, at the technology. Like, look at Star Trek, right? You look at the technology that had Star Trek. They had the communicators, right? Well, we have that now.
Yes.
You know, they're already talking about, you know, the possibility of engines that can break, you know, the time barrier. I mean, I'm not time barrier. I'm sorry, the speed of light.
Warp
You know?
speed and stuff.
Yeah, warp speed.
Mhm.
So you know, you look at that, and the video technology, the monitors. You had video communications in Star Trek. You know, you got it now. It's I so yeah. I think they pull a lot from the science fiction stuff, and they try to like what they call that back engineer.
Mhm.
The and like I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Like I look at I'm a Star Trek guy. I love Trek and all that stuff.
Okay, what's your favorite?
Oh, well, I'm a TOS guy. I'm not big on the expanded universes on these things, and but I'm a original series guy. You know, that's always my go-to. I mean, I'll watch the new stuff, but
Mhm.
I don't get into it like I do. I mean, I think some of it's just so ridiculous. I think the older stuff, as ridiculous as those can be, um, a little bit more believable than the things that go on in this. And I like the style of the old series and the original crew movies and things like that. For example, I was my favorite Star Trek movie is the second, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Mhm.
I think every Trek fan, that's their favorite. You know, the motion picture, the first one, yeah, it had some issues, but still a good movie technologically wise. You know, beautifully well done. But there was just that camaraderie, the chemistry wasn't there. The second one was much better, but I was just like just kind of goofing around and looking through online and stuff like that, and people actually dissect the ship. You know, they take the Enterprise and they break it down, and they name all of these little components and sections and give you a detailed description of what exact. Where are you getting that from? You know, like holy cow! I mean, like they create these amazing descriptions for these things that really don't exist yet, as far as we know. And I think they do, but technically, you know, they don't exist. I mean, how do you describe in detail a warp core like they do on some of these spec sheets that they put out? Where are you getting this stuff? The thrusters and they're here and they're here, and this is what these are for. Those are for. Really?
I mean, you kind of have to do that even if you're writing fantasy. Like if you have a magic system, you have to know how that magic system works.
Oh, sure.
Or
Yeah.
if you have a bad guy, unless you want him to be some cardboard cutout bad guy, you need to know why he does what he does. Like for instance, if I'm planning the big baddie for my story, I actually try to put him like in front of the gates of heaven and him giving his defense as to why he should be let in and why his cause is righteous. And even if I think he's a horrible person, he has to think he's not. And so,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's good.
and yeah, so you always have to have the reasons behind
Backstory.
it. Yeah, some of that, most of it should not go in the book, but you need to know it. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And I think a lot of like when I would write, I was very I used to love to play Dungeons and Dragons. That was one of my favorite things. You really? Yeah.
yes.
I remember it was like 5 of us from the neighborhood. We used to get together at our friend Dave's house, and we would go down into the basement and we would just sit there and just we would have like everything, the multi-sided die and you know, all the boards and the cards and all that stuff. And I remember sitting there behind the little screen, you know, as the dungeon master, you know, telling the story here and playing out the whole thing. It was great, and what a spark for your imagination. And I think a lot of the stuff I used to write back then was because I was so involved in that stuff, and it would just brought out the creative juices of it. So yeah, everything is research. You know,
Mhm.
it ties right back to it.
That's right. I will say sometimes I wish scientists would not always, like we have some things in science fiction that I thought were warnings, but we seem to be doing them anyway. And in fact, one of the stories I recently read, I incorporated, they're taking like human brain cells and
Yeah.
incorporating them into silicon chips. And I'm like how many science fiction movies have told us what a bad idea this is?
Right.
We're-
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And then you look at like the Terminator movies, right? You have Skynet. Well, did you know that there actually is a real Skynet?
Yes.
You know, hello.
Yes.
you know, remember Arnold Schwarzenegger? He said, "I'll be back."
That's right.
So he's coming. It is crazy how much writing parallels what's really going on in the world before it actually happens.
Mhm.
It's really interesting to say the least. From a slightly cheeky point of view, or expression of it. It's interesting. If I was able to do the eyebrow raise, I would do the eyebrow raise and say fascinating, but I can't. So
Yeah, I can't do that either.
I mean, I can do it this way. I can go like,
Okay.
it's not going to work. Like we were just talking though. But you've written across different genres: science fiction, fantasy, mystery. What is steampunk?
Oh, steampunk is like think Victorian period, but with cool gadgets. So they'll have like mech swords or phaser guns that are not science phaser, but like steam powered kind of things. And have you seen like those people that wear like they'll cosplay with they have top hats with goggles and airships and stuff like that? That's steampunk. So
Okay, all right. I kind of had an idea, but I wasn't 100% sure. That's why I wanted to ask you to make just so I knew I was on the right path.
There's probably a much simpler way to explain it. I haven't figured it out yet. I have a middle grade novel coming out next year that's equally divided between a steampunk and fantasy world, and so I've mashed those two genres together.
Okay. Now, is there one that you like feel more comfortable with, or at home in, or do you like going across the boundaries?
It honestly depends on my mood. In this case, it was more, I had one of my kids was being a little rude. I don't know, maybe your kids are perfect. But
no.
Okay. And so I had said to them, I don't think you talk to your dad this way. And the child admitted they did not. And I said, so why do you think it's okay to talk to me this way? And the response was, because I know you'll love me anyway. And I started thinking about when kids are divided between two parents. And so I made this world where he was divided between the two worlds, essentially. And his family had, his world had rejected magic for the more noble art of machines. But then he finds out that his mother, who he's never met, is actually from the Magic Kingdom. And so he's got to make some decisions about things and realize that he can love both his parents. And by loving one, it doesn't mean he's rejecting the other. Essentially, like his father disappears, and in order to rescue his father, he has to learn the old magic that will make his father not want to love him anymore. Wow. And so it's a hard choice, but I wanted kids to understand that you don't have to choose, that both parents will love you and you can love both parents.
Yeah, that's an important message to get out. I think a lot of kids deal with that issue. They're not sure where they stand with one or the other, or something. Or unfortunately, sometimes both.
But I didn't want to preach it because kids don't want to be preached to. Like they don't want to be lectured. So I just made it a fun adventure with lots of cool gadgets.
Oh, like that. That's good. So what are you currently working on? Any sneak peeks at anything upcoming?
Yeah. I just finished a genetics story that's pretty cool. And I'm working on another fantasy short story that I can't tell you about because the competition is judged anonymously. And if one of the judges is watching this, I'll get booted out. But after it's judged, I'll totally tell you all about it. The middle grade novel that's coming out next year, I'm working on book 2 of that because they gave me a 3-book deal. And I'm also working on a YA about a society of genetically engineered twins. And so everyone in that world is a twin. And they have special powers, but they're dependent on their twin for their powers to work. And then one of them has their twin disappear. So that's what that one's about.
Interesting. I like that. That sounds like it could be something very, very, very compelling. Almost like a movie. Maybe a Lifetime movie.
There we go. Maybe. Okay. It won't be Hallmark, I'll tell you that. So,
We'll make it work.
yeah.
So, what authors or storytellers have influenced your work the most?
Oh, that's so hard. Um, you ask good questions.
Thank you.
So part of my problem is I have a lot of author friends, and I'm a little afraid if I name one and not another, they're going to be mad. So I'll do it. My default is to stick with the dead writers.
Okay.
And so if they get
Can't
mad,
accept that.
they can haunt me. Um, so I loved Dickens, especially because he had this way of tapping into some real problems and making you love the people that were dealing with them and breaking your heart along with their hearts being broken.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, and he has now. I have this goal of one day making this beautiful Dickensian plot where there's all these threads out there, and then he ties them up in this neat little bow at the end, and you think that's going to be impossible, but he does it. I don't. I feel like I'm still too much of a baby writer to accomplish that yet, but I'm going to do it at some point. And
Cool. Just do it.
I think my favorite of his is Little Dorrit, which most people haven't heard of. But it's about a girl who grew up in debtor's prison. Like she was born in debtor's prison.
Okay.
And
I'm
the
not
fact,
familiar with this one.
no, most people aren't. I would say if you aren't, it's a very complicated one. There's a great mini series. You can do the cheat version that has like Claire Foy and Matthew McFadden on it, and it's great. But it's about how everyone needs to feel the sense of dignity, no matter what their circumstances are. So he was a big influence on me because of those factors. Bodie Taney is an historical fiction writer I loved. She might still be alive, but I don't know her, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
And she wrote this great series about the Holocaust that changed my life as far as understanding what people went through and what courage was in the face of difficult things. And so that had a big impact on me. So that's it. And I'm going to stop there because I'll accidentally talk about people I know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. But Dickens, I agree.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're allowed to have, off.
Well, appreciate that. But yeah, Dickens, I love Dickens. And as you were describing earlier about him, about some of the things he's written, you're absolutely right. He does kind of tap into that and get you to have feelings for the character that you might not normally like. Like I don't know. My favorite Dickens story is Christmas Carol. And I mean I know that's probably common to a lot of people, but like I'm not talking about the movie version. I'm talking about the actual book.
Right.
You
Oh,
read the
and
book.
language in it is so well
Yeah.
done. Yes.
Yes, it is absolutely. And I must have read that book cover to cover. Oh, man, I want to say at least 20, 30 times over the course of my life. And it's one of my favorite things to do. And what I used to do, I haven't done it in a while, but what I used to do I would start reading it in December, like December 1st. I would start. And I would just read through the whole book all the way through Christmas, and then finish it on Christmas Eve.
What a great idea.
And it was so much fun to do that. And I did that consistently for a few years. And I mentioned I'm gonna have to pull out my copy. I'm gonna have to do that again. I think I need to do that.
I think I'm going to do that now this year. Thanks.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, and the trick was trying to pace it out so you finish.
Don't get into it too much, so you
Right.
don't. Finish it.
Exactly. But even if I had to read 100 pages, it didn't matter. I always finished it on Christmas Eve, and but it's true because you take a character like Ebenezer Scrooge, who what a horrible human being, but then you read the backstory as to why he became that, and then you understand it a little bit, and so you don't hate him. You're not. You're more empathetic towards him.
Yeah, you're rooting for his heart to change.
Exactly.
You want him to learn.
Exactly.
So I love that. I know I don't know if you've seen the movie. This isn't the movie Christmas Carol. It's the movie about Dickens writing A Christmas
No, I
Carol.
haven't seen that. I didn't know that. Yeah,
The Man Who Invented Christmas. And I think you will love it.
I have to
So,
check it out.
yes.
Sure.
Yeah, it was really well done. So,
Charlie's at the door. He's letting me know show's almost over.
okay.
So I have two. I didn't tell you. So I have two French bulldogs. I have Bean as my girl. She's my 5-year-old. She's my baby. And then I have her brother is Charlie, and he's 4. And what I do is when I do the show, I put it on in the living room for them so they can watch it. And it never fails. Charlie knows. He knows when time is coming up, and he comes to the studio door, and I hear him at the door letting me know.
That's so cute.
And I don't know. It's the craziest. I never taught him that. I never trained him on that. That's just something that he did. And he's my bud. He's my pal. So, and they're also waiting for dinner too. I cook for them. They get a home cooked meal every night.
Oh wow, your dogs are way more. They get much more treasured dinners than mine get.
They're my babies, though. They're my life right now. So, and yeah, they deserve everything. They get everything. They'll have ribeye steaks. They'll have. I've made filet mignon for them. They're also my test kitchen, so I'll make stuff and I'll let them taste it first.
Okay, your dog's eating better than I am now. So
one night, ready for this one? You're gonna like this one. One night, I made filet mignon. I made a bacon wrapped filet mignon with a red wine reduction for a sauce, and I love to cook. Cooking is my therapy. So I made it, and I had some of it myself, but the two of them are sitting there watching me eat this thing, and they're both literally drooling. So I was like, all right. So I sliced it all up for them, and they had bacon wrapped filet mignon with the red wine sauce for dinner one night. It was fun. And then Charlie's he's like a bud, man. I'm a bourbon guy. I love bourbons. I like to sample different bourbons, and so does Charlie. So, I don't give him just for the people who out there are going to think that I give him a
dog drunk. Yeah.
Well, I do, but I don't. But it's not like I give him a whole a glass of bourbon or anything like that. What I'll do is if I'm sampling something new, I'll dip my finger in it and give him a couple of drops off my finger, and sometimes it does its thing. I have some incredible pictures somewhere on my phone of Charlie passed out, laying on top of me, on his back with his head to the side, his paws like this, his tongue hanging out of his mouth. He's my pal. He's my buddy.
Oh, that is so into a story at some point. I'm sorry.
You could steal it. It's fine. Okay. He's my bud. They're everything to me. So he's at the door, and he's like, I hear him at the door.
Where's my steak?
Well, no, tonight they're getting braised chicken breasts tonight. Wow. So it's going to be interesting because I really don't feel like cooking, but I can't say no. But you know what they'll do? They'll go to the bowl, and because I leave dry food for them. Mm-hmm. They'll go there and they'll stand. Both of them. They'll both stand at their food bowl and they'll look at me like, "This is all we're getting."
My dad.
You know what I'm talking about. So they're hysterical, and I love it. They're the best. So they're gonna get chicken tonight, and I'm gonna have some chicken soup. I can't.
You're not feeling like it.
I am dying right now.
Mine can tell when I'm slowing down on my food and I'm not going to finish, and so then they come quietly over and sit there, and then they get the last pieces of my meal, and so
nice.
They're happy about that.
See, mine. What they'll do is my boy, he'll lay down next to me on the floor, right next to the chair, and he won't move. Like, he won't look at me. He won't do anything. He'll just lay there and wait. My girl will go under the table and go up in between your legs on the chair, and you'll look down. You'll just see her face right there. And she has the saddest eyes when she does that. Like, her ears go back and her eyes get all wet. And I'm like, okay, here you go.
It's so, it's hard to cut that up.
It's terrible. They're the best. I love them. So anyway, just to kind of wrap up our conversation, which has been great. I love this. This has been a great conversation. So what do you hope that the audience takes away from our discussion tonight?
That they can have fun reading, and that reading can teach them about other people that they never experienced before in their lives, and to get to know a different type of person, and that they can do incredible things. You see what some of the people in my books do, and I know they're fake, but there are real people who've done things just as hard, so they can too. So,
All right. All right. So where can the audience go to get more information about you, your work, your books?
yeah, I have a website. It is asansevero.com. So the A and then my last name. And so I have everything listed on there. The books are available. You can get them at Barnes & Noble, Amazon. But Amazon doesn't let the author or the publisher pick the prices. And sometimes I don't like how sometimes they overprice them. So I would go to my website where I show where all the places you can get them, and you can, shop for a discount that way. So,
All right. Outstanding. Now, of course, your website, all that information is going to be all in our show notes. So folks will be able to just click on a link in the show notes. You'll be able to go right to her website and find out all the information you could about her. Any social medias you want to promote? Anything you want to put out there?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on X. I am on Instagram. I'm probably the most active on Facebook because I'm old and it's easier. But I try to do all three. We'll see.
All right. Outstanding. Well, Annmarie, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I really do appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. You've been a great guest. I really thank you so much for it. And so you could just want to hang out for a minute. I'm just going to close out the show, and then I'll catch you once we end the stream. We'll just tie up a few things.
Sounds
all right.
Great. Thank you.
Annmarie SanSevero.
SanSevero, but it's okay. You're saying it right. That's all right.
All right. I'm embarrassed as a New York Italian. I didn't say that.
No, and so a lot of New Yorkers will say it's SanSevero.
Well, that's how I was saying it earlier today.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fine.
All right. Annmarie, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks
all right. We'll be with you in a few. All right, folks. So Annmarie, what a great show, right? She was great. I really enjoyed having her on the show tonight. So hopefully we'll have her come back again when she has her new project released, and then we'll touch base with her there. All right. But in the meantime, folks, Pro HVAC R Solutions leverages over 30 years of expertise in providing HVAC sales and repair services, specializing in both residential and commercial installations. Pro HVAC's team of skilled technicians is dedicated to providing efficient heating, ventilation, and air conditioning solutions for your home or business with a focus on quality, workmanship, and customer satisfaction. Pro HVAC ensures your comfort all year round. Contact Pro HVAC R Solutions today for reliable HVAC services tailored to your individual needs. Visit prohvacsolutions.com. That's prohvacsolutions.com. All right. And let's see what else we got here. Just a couple of quick announcements for you. Please don't forget to head over to our website, joerooz.com. And when you get there, there's going to be a little thing that's going to pop up on the homepage. It's for an email list that we have. And it's just a programming email list. We're not selling you anything. We're not going to, I'm not going to send you a coffee mug for $80 and say, hey, buy this. I'm not going to do that to you. It's just for programming information. So upcoming shows, guests, any changes in schedules, all that stuff. So it's important to be on a list though, because it's the easiest way we communicate, because, I am terrible with social media stuff. So get yourself on the mailing list. Look, it's free. Okay. Free. Don't cost you nothing. Free. Get on the mailing list. Okay. Stay in the know. Don't forget also, folks, coming up, this is, that was today, actually. Never mind. Can't tell you about that one now. Never mind. See, shame on me. I didn't update my stuff. But today was the food drive for the veterans at the Eagle Pass Maverick Food County Food Pantry. It's the cold medicine is catching me here. And that was today. So I'll get some updates for you on how that all went. And we'll talk about that on Wednesday night's show. And hey, listen, don't forget, check out Wednesday night's show. You know why? Because it's episode 200. We hit 200 episodes coming up on Wednesday. Very excited about that. Like I told you guys yesterday, most podcasts stop at episode 10 and then don't go on. All right. We're here, episode 200. And I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts that go way beyond that. But for us, this is a big thing. All right. So check out the show on Wednesday night, episode number 200. All right. If you want to follow us on the socials, don't forget we're on Twix or Twitter, X. I call it Twix, at Joe Rooz, Truth Social, at Joe Rooz Minds, Joe Rooz. Don't forget, November 21st, the CEO, co-founder of Minds.com will be here on the show with us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to talking to Bill Ottman. Minds.com, at Joe Rooz. Facebook, we are the... no, it's not that. Facebook is Joe Rooz Show. Instagram, we are not Joe Rooz on Instagram. Okay, no, that's the name. It's not Joe Rooz, because remember, when I tried to open up an Instagram account, they banned me before I even finished the sign up. So I had to do a different thing. So I signed up as not Joe Rooz, and they somehow accepted that. TikTok. I don't know why I'm on TikTok. I think any man that's on TikTok is weird. All right, just for the record, but I have a TikTok account for the show, so it's at joe.rooz, and then Getter. We're back on Getter, so find us over there at Joe Rooz as well. All right, let's see. Shout-outs to our producing team, executive producers, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and the inestimable Anonymous Angela. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do and devoting your time, your talent, your treasure to make this show possible. So thank you so much for it. And God bless you for it. We really do appreciate it. Now, if you want to join in the fun, you could always head over to the website, hit the support button, and do a one-time donation in any amount. You could do a recurring donation in any amount. And then this is where the value for value comes in. You could become an associate producer of the show for a recurring donation of $17.76. You can become a producer of the show for $18.36. And you can become an executive producer for $25 and up a month. Okay, recurring donations. All the producers get the shout out on every show, get included in all of our show notes, any emails that go out. Why? Because you are helping us by donating your time, your talent, your treasure. You are helping us produce this show. So therefore, you are producers and you got the credit. And I am still trying to work with IMDb so that they can actually recognize you as legitimate producers, so you can actually put that on your resume. See, that's how I think about you. All right. So try it out. If you can help, we appreciate it. If you have the means to do it, we appreciate that. That would be fantastic. We'd love to get more people involved. And hopefully that might be you. And don't forget also, the executive producer gets to come on the show with us. So it's a lot of fun that way. Remember, we have our Wednesdays with Wayne. Wayne comes on the show on Wednesdays. He's not going to be coming on this Wednesday, unfortunately. He's still recovering from his surgery, so he's not ready yet. We spoke to him today. But he'll be back on very shortly. So one of you guys jump in the spot. Come on. It'd be a lot of fun. All right. If you want to help us out with crypto donations, you can do that also. All our crypto wallet information is up there on the screen, up on the website. And then also we have a number of folks that are helping us out by donating through the modern podcast apps. They're streaming sats to us. Sats are just micropayments of Bitcoin. Very, very easy to do. All you have to do is just hook up your wallet to the modern podcast app that you're using. It was Podcast Guru, Podhome, Fountain.fm, any of those modern podcast apps. And it's easy to do. Look, I did it. I'm an old guy. I did it. I figured the whole thing out. So it's 1, 2, 3. Just do it. All right. And if you like what you hear, just click that boost button and you can send over some Satoshis, and we would really appreciate those as well. All right. Now, if you want to try out the modern podcast apps, you can get them in your, most of them anyway, you can get in your app store for your device. But if you want to be rogue, go to modernpodcastapps.com or podcastindex.org. All right. Charlie is howling at the door, so I think it's time for us to say goodbye for tonight. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Really enjoyed tonight's show, and I hope you guys did too. Drop a comment down below, email us, let us know what you think. And don't forget, make Texas independent again. Go podcasting, keep a steady stride, and keep talking. Good night, folks. We'll see you Wednesday.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.
Happy trails to you till we meet again. Some trails are